Hello, my name is Dale Wilhite. I live in Mountain Village, Colorado. If you want to find out anything about me, you can go to MySpace where I have a page. This here deals with suicide. My birth mother, Kathy Johnson, committed suicide on December the 9th in 1976 out there off of Tropicana in Las Vegas, Nevada. Basically where the Motel 6 is located at now. Anybody's been to Vegas and been down Tropicana many times, you know, would be familiar with that area. It's actually on Russell Road, which runs in front of the Motel 6. If Motel 6 is there, I haven't been to Vegas a couple years, so as far as I know, half of it's still there. And then, of course, across the street from Motel 6, across Tropicana, is the MGM. But anyway, she committed suicide. She had a pretty bad life, used a lot by casino owners like Bill Boyd. He's the co-owner of what once was a mafia-run hotel called the Stardust, and his father was Sam Boyd, who founded the California Hotel. Of course, he died on Christmas of, I think, of 93, 92 or 93. I think it was 93. Anyhow, she committed suicide because she just basically had a hard life. She was basically poor, lived day to day, just got used a lot, got into drugs, got into booze. Raised in up to about the age of 12 in foster homes. Nobody loved her. Nobody wanted her. Her own parents didn't want her. Got rid of her the day she was born. And she was just looking for love. And for 36 years of her life, she couldn't find any love. She had 3 sons, Victor Spirigo, Mark Spirigo, and you can find them on the internet and in Vegas. And I'm Dale Wilhite, but my name used to be Dale Augusta Spirigo. And I was her 3rd son, and I was a lucky one. I got adopted out after she went to prison, and unfortunately, before I got adopted out, I got myself nearly beat to death by my 2 brothers' dad, her first and only husband, Gus Spirigo, who lives in Pensacola, Florida, and his 16-year-old wife named Charlotte Spirigo broke my jaw 3 times, my nose 3 times, my left arm, tried to murder me by leaving me out in the snow to freeze to death. And then her last attempt to murder me was to scald me to death in the hot bath water. Both my brothers from the door down in the bedroom at Dow Air Force Base, up at Bangor Air Force Base, in Bangor, Maine, at Dow Air Force Base. In 1965, watched them try to scald me to death in the bathtub. At that time, her husband was helping her. Anyhow, that for me led to a lot of suicide thoughts as a teenager and as an adult. And about the time I hit 30, that just kind of faded away, because when you hit 30, you begin to realize that life is passing by, and you begin to realize that suicide isn't going to solve anything. But here's something you have to keep in mind as far as a biblical, if you want to look at it from a biblical point of view, that is a Christian point of view, that suicide is self-murder. It is an act of murder. And the Bible does not give us permission to take our own lives. Is it the unpardonable sin? No. But most likely, most Christians don't commit suicide. But we have to be very careful about judging. Because the Catholic Church likes to kind of, state that it's an unpardonable sin and all that stuff. Well, they don't really know that. We just know that murderers do not inherit the kingdom of heaven. What drives some people to commit suicide, it could be demons. It's just cowardness. It could be just, a bad thought, a bad moment. These are things that are left in God's hand. And it's just wrong for people to, or a church like the Catholic Church, to state clearly that, yes, they have committed the unpardonable sin and they are in purgatory. Of course, there is no purgatory. There's nothing in the Bible that talks about purgatory. There are no popes, there are no nuns, there are no any of that stuff. The word nun means fish, and the word pope means papa, Catholic means universal, Protestant means protest. There is no purgatory in the Bible. There's a hell, a lake of fire, but there's never no mention of any purgatory. Just like they try to claim that Peter was a wealthy man. Well, if you look in the book of Acts, he says that gold and silver I have none. He was never, and there's no evidence he ever went to Rome. That's all just made up things. A lot of, you have to look at things like that and pay attention to it and do your own investigation, and you'd know that. But nonetheless, suicide is an act of self-murder. And you have to remember that it's not going to solve your problems. But to say that every person that's committed suicide is going to hell You don't know that. It's just like one time I was going down Interstate 40 traveling through Arkansas once back in the 80s. I heard this fundamentalist preacher on the radio preaching that now that Elvis Presley's in hell. And, well, if I could see that fundamentalist preacher, I'd tell him, have you been to hell to see him there? You don't know if he's in hell. I don't know if he's in hell. Who are you to judge that he's in hell? He may have gotten saved before he died. He may have been saved before he died. I don't know. The man knew the way to heaven. He knew who Jesus was. I'm talking about spiritually. So who's that person to say that he's in hell? Is ridiculous. You don't know that, and leave it to God. It's not your place to judge. I don't know if he's in hell. I hope he's not. I don't want anybody to go to hell except maybe Hitler. And people like that, they belong there. But to say that he's in hell is wrong, and that's the same thing to say that people are automatically in hell or in the Catholic Church purgatory is wrong. There is no proof of that. You haven't seen them down there. You don't know that. The Bible doesn't give you permission to say, yes, they have went to hell. And any preacher, none of them that say they know for sure, are liars. They don't know that. It's like somebody says, I know when the end of the world's coming. They're liars. They don't know. Nobody knows. Even Jesus doesn't know. He says only my Father knows. If Jesus said no, how are we going to know? How would we know? A little peons like us, a little piece of dirt in God's kingdom. That's basically, we're just a little speck of sand. It's like, to God, we're just like a speck of sand, like we would walk down the beach, with a little speck of sand, it's almost like minuscule. So that's ridiculous. But the most important thing to remember is suicide is an act of self-murder. Murderers do not inherit the kingdom of heaven. But again, you have to be careful about this. And I would just suggest anybody ever thinking about committing suicide, don't. I've thought about it all through my teens and 20s, and my 20s, and I finally just gave up on it at about the age of 30 because, like I said, life is so short. It's so very short. And you're not going to, and it's going to come to an end sooner than you think. So just try to make the best of what you can in life, as hard as it may be at times. And hopefully, just look for the next life, for something better. Because this world's never going to be perfect. There's always going to be turmoil, always going to be destruction, death, lies, cheating, murdering. It's just going to be a nightmare. But it was never meant to be a paradise. At the beginning it might have been. But Adam and Eve kind of screwed that up. Anyway, just remember that suicide is an act of self-murder. And it's a very, very dangerous thing to do. And you're playing with your soul. You're playing with eternity. Because remember that we're only one heartbeat away from eternity. One heartbeat away. Thank you for your time.